Hi guys, so today is Wellness Wednesday again. We have actually, Doc rather, created an awesome protocol what she always recommends for her patients. Okay, so this is seven steps, and what we came up with, we call it the Magnificent Seven.
That's correct.
Everybody should be following these things and should be implemented into your daily routine. So basically, the first one is you need to make sure that you're eating the proper food, right? And where's the proper food coming from? Well, you need to make sure these are wholesome foods. So preferably using as least supplementations as you have to use. So trying to not to make sure if you're focusing on all sorts of garbage supplements, what nowadays unfortunately being utilized, utilized by many athletes and activists, rather actresses, actors, who is saying that they are using all sorts of supplements just to lose weight or maintain their weight or just stay healthy. It's not necessary, so shoot for wholesome foods. What's the next one, Doc?
So what you eat, then when you eat, your timings of your food intake. We have toyed with, and I know if you guys are patients of mine, we've toyed with different timings, whether you do an intermittent fast, whether you do a full fast, whether you eat 5 meals a day. You know, the biggest plan is to make sure you're getting the timing appropriate for what your body needs. So what you eat and when you eat, that's 1 and 2.
Timing is extremely important, you know, especially in a sport environment. You know, timing is actually even more so important than for an average person.
Correct.
Everybody should be eating properly. Everybody should be having some kind of meal, some kind of form of meals in every 4 hours, because even if it's perfectly measuredly with the proper amount of protein, carbohydrates and fats combined together, after 4 hours the body is already utilized all of the meals. Now obviously everybody is unique and everybody has to have a different meal plan, nutritional program. So as Doc always says, that diets don't work unless you're making a lifestyle change.
That's right.
And it has to be tailored for you. That's why you either have to talk to Doc or myself or anybody who is a dietitian, to make sure that you understand how you're supposed to combine foods together, how you're supposed to combine the proper amount of protein, carbs, and fats. Because then again, everybody thinks about it, and I want to make sure I address this, and probably we will later on. It's not necessary that you only have to focus on your protein constantly, and you have to avoid the carbohydrates in every single way. Carbohydrates are extremely important. If you don't have enough carbohydrates, your brain is not going to function properly. If you're eating too much protein, you become very acidic. And especially for a female body, I train some competitors. They became actually very unhappy and unhealthy because they became very acidic, so they couldn't break down the protein. So I needed to take it away, and they needed to do a few days of cleanse, and actually needed to put these patients and clients on some soup diet, believe it or not, to make sure that they're going to get some collagen, so they're going to have healthy bowel movement again, unfortunately. So what's the next one?
The next one, so what you eat, when you eat, and then number 3, we talk about liquids, right? Water intake. So water intake is huge in the ability to maintain the weight and lose weight, because when you don't have that water, which is what our body is majority made up of, you can't process all of the things that you need to, all the hormone regulation, all the ability to process the foods, the way that you think, all of it is based on that. A lot of people, when they change their diet, their skin changes. If they don't drink enough water, that's super important. And you just mentioned being able to have, you know, proper bowel movements. The water is huge in that. If you don't have enough water, we find that changes with the diet, and that's huge. I usually, because again, we're in the US and everything's in pounds, I tell patients start with 1/4 of your weight. Start. Okay, so technically it should be half your kilos, but if you can start with half, you know, 1/4 of your pounds, that's somewhere to start from. If you can go a little bit more, that would be better. If you can work up to that at the least, that way you have, and you know, hydration is getting addressed.
It's very important, especially especially as a doctor, Doc. You know that if somebody's not drinking enough water, it's even going to thicken their blood, right?
Correct. Okay. It's not just thicken, but it causes issues to all different other systems in the body.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at how it regulates the rest of the body and takes things from place A to place B. You need to have the water intake in there.
Yeah, we can talk about so much more, and we will. So next one is exercise, of course. Exercise is my favorite, of course. Without that, you know, we can't stay healthy. And the exercise itself, and obviously physical labor was so common back in the day, and so people tend to burn calories by just just to go to work, right?
Right.
Nowadays, unfortunately, many people are unfortunately sitting, and because of that, they don't burn enough calories. It also decreases their circulation as well. So
Right.
exercise is not just to increase your circulation and your improve your heart health and cardiovascular health and your musculoskeletal strength. However, it is extremely great just to make sure you're going to boost your immune system as well, for example. So exercise and also to produce some hormones, which is also can help you to increase energy.
That's
as
right.
well as to calm you down because it increases even serotonin as well, right, Doc?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's tremendous amount of benefits. Just make sure that you exercise, guys, okay?
Yeah.
What's the next one?
So what you eat, I always do this with my patients. I remind them because 70 to 80% of healthy lifestyle and living is food. So what you eat again, when you eat, water intake, exercise. Number 5, sleep. Sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, leptin cannot be produced. Leptin is your weight loss hormone. Cortisol levels would be off. Cortisol is secreted from the adrenal gland, and when that's off, whether high or low, you feel completely off through the whole day too. And the way we correct that for a lot of people, not all, is to improve their sleep pattern. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Some of us in stressful jobs, we have difficulty sleeping too, and we know that when we correct that, it does help. So listening to your body, making sure you get proper rest, that's number 5.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely, yeah.
And going along with number 5 is number 6.
Yes, number 6 is
Stress.
stress. So
Stress.
obviously you need to make sure that you're gonna find a way, an outlet, how you're gonna be able to handle stress, guys. Okay, so we talked about all of these things. Believe it or not, that's why stress is coming on the 6th, is because the previous things can help you to eliminate it or
Correct.
reduce it.
Exactly.
The stress.
Exactly. Stress, including anxiety, depression, difficulty with post-traumatic, issues with things going on, family issues. Those all can contribute because they take your hormones, bounce them out of control. But if you focus on, again, starting from the beginning, going up, when you get to that number 6, it is important and it will be reduced because you've addressed the things that you know you have more control over, and then you can work on these as well.
Absolutely.
The last thing, which shouldn't be the last, but it does come in there, is elimination. Elimination, when we talk about bowels and urine. So your bowels and your kidneys are huge when it comes to the ability to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Because if you don't do that, then you don't know what's being absorbed. We just think about what's going out, but think about it. You need to have that healthy in order to be able to absorb as well.
So exactly, just very quick tip. So if you're eliminating too quick, it's just as bad when you're not eliminating at
That's
all.
right.
It's very, very common problems. If you're eating too much fats, unfortunately, your bowel is going to be so much more fluid and you need to go to the bathroom more frequently. However, it's the same problem occurs if you're not drinking enough fluid, if you're not enough fat, or your protein intake is too high. It's going to take you maybe a few days before you're going to go to the bathroom as well. Just as big problem. So definitely you talk to your doctor, make sure that you're going to do it as it should be done.
If you can focus on those things, I tell patients, take one tip, focus on it for a week, master it, go on to the next one. That way, by the end of about 2 months, give or take, you would have changed your lifestyle, which is huge, and can continue with you for a long time rather than trying any other gimmick out there.
Exercise medicine, guys.
Nutrition is the key.